Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Tonight is Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. This is live stream 823. It's your first time hanging out. Let me point out, super casual around here. We are certainly not engaging in rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. We're just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then taking a look at a game. Tonight, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Marvel Dice Throne from the Op Games. So we are going to jump on in. This is the 4-character box set. There are a few different box sets that are out there for Marvel Dice Throne. This is the 4-character box, which is out right now, I do believe. I think it came out earlier this month. I know it was out at Gen Con, but that doesn't always mean that it's in stores, but I'm pretty sure this one is. And of course, if you are watching live and you're tuning in to catch the unboxing of Marvel Dice Throne, let me point out, we tackled the tabletop gaming news around here first. So it'll be about 30, maybe 35 minutes before we dive on in. So kick up your feet, relax, take a load off, and enjoy the news, or go make a sandwich, walk around the block. We will be diving into Marvel Dice Throne in just a bit. If you are watching this 30 minutes or more after the stream ends, there will be timestamps, so you can actually jump past the news if you'd like. And depending on the device you happen to be watching this on, those timestamps might actually be built right into the timeline. So making it very easy for you to just skip ahead if you'd like. Although I've got some pretty cool news tonight we're going to talk about. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. And of course, because this is a live stream, that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Should also mention that you need to be a subscriber to take part in chat, and you must be a subscriber for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. First out the gate tonight was the Motor City Madman. Yes, the Madman's with us. Melwinius from York is joining us. Kevin R. Smith, Flaming Huron's here. So the Madman and Flaming Huron are both chat moderators. Coco B is here remotely in the Duct Tape Studios. So Coco's saying there was a strange Coco B appearance, maybe not an appearance last night. It was like some people were seeing Coco B in chat, others weren't seeing Coco B in chat. It was a mystery. Only mysteries in the Duct Tape Studios. Disavowed 92 is with us as well as Kathy Evans. So I think I've said hello to everybody so far in chat. So howdy, howdy. Welcome aboard. We're going to jump right on into the news because arriving next week from Wizards of the Coast is Magic the Gathering Dominaria United. Here's what I know. Return to where it all began. To kick off Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary celebration, Dominaria United returns to the plane that started it all and begins an immersive year-long story that fans will be talking about for years to come. 4 sets, 1 enemy. The Pyrexians are here and the fate of the multiverse is at stake. It's a legendary set with legendary cards. Dominaria is an ancient plane filled with countless cultures, legends, and forgotten treasures. Reunite with your favorite heroes with at least 1 legendary creature card in each and every Dominaria United draft, set, and collector booster. Lost Legends, collector's boosters only. In 3% of the collector's boosters, you're going to also find a card pulled from actual long-lost booster packs from the beloved 1994 set Legends. That's kind of interesting. And then, of course, we'll have the Legends Retold box topper cards. With every full draft set and collector booster box, also comes a box topper containing 1 traditional foil legendary creature or planeswalker card that puts a new spin on a classic tale, with designs inspired by the original 1994 Legends characters. These cards can also be found in some Dominaria United collector boosters. Magic the Gathering Dominaria United is going to arrive in stores on September 9th, which is actually a week later than originally planned. This was originally slated for the 2nd of September, but as we know, there have been some delays with some of the Wizards of the Coast releases. This is one of them. I will admit, I actually ordered the bundle. So like a bundle box comes with 8 boosters and rules and a 20, I think it's a 20-sided die. They call it a life counter, but I'm pretty sure it's a 20-sided die. So yes, I decided I was going to check out the latest set that's coming out. And I need to talk to Elliot Miller, my best friend, see if he wants to pick one up as well. So I just ordered mine from Amazon. And I know there have been some issues with Amazon and Magic the Gathering cards. People returning Magic cards that have been boosters, have been resealed and things like that. That I don't think will be an issue with this because it's brand new. So this is a brand new shipment. So I don't think anybody's going to have gotten their hands on them as of yet. Fingers crossed. Got to say, I definitely dig the stained glass look of many of these cards that are in the collection as well. As I point out all the time, I am not up on my Magic the Gathering. I still play Arena from time to time, but there's some new mechanics and things like that that I don't, So, Disavowed 92 says the spin down life counters for Magic the Gathering are 20-sided dice, but not an actual traditional 20-sided die. Flaming Heron says he's got his fingers crossed for me that we don't, I don't get ripped off on this. I don't know. Don't know. So Kevin says, let's just see if Amazon can get it to me intact. We'll find out. We'll find out. I might actually do an unboxing of the bundle. I don't know why they call it a bundle. It's kind of odd. Could just call it like a starter pack or something like that. Anyway, I might do an unboxing video. Maybe we'll do it live. We'll see what's going on. Although I think it's slated to get here. Actually, I think it's slated to get here on a show night. So maybe we'll do that. Moving right along. Hitting stores in September from Catalyst Game Labs is a new print run of the Battletech Beginner Box. They're calling this the Mercenary Edition. Here's the latest. The comm line abuzz with pre-battle orders. The pounding rhythm of a metal titan on the prowl. The shifting glow of your battle mech's controls spread before you. Then the abrupt tone lock of incoming fire wails in your cockpit as missiles, autocannon shells, and lasers fall like Thor's hammer against your armor. Seize your mech's controls, draw its weapons into line, and unleash a hellish response. Battletech is the world's greatest armored combat game. That's according to Catalyst Game Labs. Filled with a myriad of epic stores and gaming experiences. It must be epic stories. That's the good old Catalyst Game Labs, editing and, proofreading here. Filled with a myriad of epic stores. Yeah, there we go. And gaming experiences to satiate any player. Miniatures to RPG play, hobby painting to fiction and beyond. The Battletech Beginner Box is the first step on that fantastic journey and includes everything you need to get started. 2 high-quality miniatures, quick stat rules, a map sheet, cards to represent your mech warrior's unique skills, dice, and more. Do you have what it takes to plant the banner of victory and become a legend? Leap into the action and find out. In this introduction to the Battletech game and universe, players each take control of one giant walking war machine, a battle mech, aka mech, and battle until one is destroyed or the scenario objectives being played are completed. The Battletech Beginner Box is for 2 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around a couple hours. It's going to carry an MSRP of $24.99 when it arrives on September 21st. So Melwinia says that the minis look like a Vindicator and a Wolverine, but they're not sure. For crying out loud, I've got the Op Games showing up on here. It's been another one of those days, gang. It is CatalystGameLabs.com. See, I added this news piece in last minute after I had done my little thing about my Marvel dice throw. Yep, should have taken a peek. Yes, it is Catalyst Game Labs. What can I tell you? Today marked the beginning of a new Kickstarter to make the 3rd volume of the Amethyst setting for 5e a reality for Ex Machina Games. Here's the scoop. Amethyst is a role-playing game presenting a world where a true-to-book fantasy setting is forced upon our real world. How would humanity respond? This is not some stylized view of Earth seen in books and on TV. It's a world with all the problems, both social and political, intact. 500 years after magic's return, the remnants of our technological heritage live in the few remaining bastions, cities like ones of present day, but walled in against the encroaching magic surrounding it. Will mankind be able to retake the planet and push the fantasy back into the realms of our imagination? Able to resume our blind passion for consumerism and industrialization? Is this world better than the one mankind squandered? To give you a better feel for Amethyst 5e, there is a Kickstarter video. It is a little more than 4 minutes in length. And I actually did a preview video myself, which popped out this morning. So I will talk about that in just a few. But first, let's take a look at the Kickstarter video from Ex Machina Games.
Which side will you choose? Which weapons will you wield? Venture into lands once claimed by skyscrapers and factories, now overrun by elves, goblins, and dragons. Ride gracefully on horseback, or plow through the wilderness in an armored vehicle. Earth is torn between the order of science and the chaos of fantasy. The realm of magic has invaded our world, forcing humanity into the last few bastions of technology. These worlds cannot mix. Will you embrace the wonder of legends and myths, or accept the reality of cell phones and dishwashers? For 500 years, the planet was locked in a stalemate, but no longer. The stones of amethyst have arisen. When brought together, they could decide the planet's future, cast off the remaining shred of technology, or close off the world of magic forever. From the creator of Ultramodern 5, Affinity, Apex, and Neurospasta comes Deus Ex Machina's magnum opus, Amethyst. This crowdfunding campaign is meant to fund the third volume in the series, Amethyst Revelations. Backers will be able to acquire the latest volume or all current editions of Amethyst, either as a standard or a luxury leather set. The journey begins with Amethyst Quintessence at over 400 pages, offering science fiction rules which later inspired Ultramodern 5. 11 new races, from the bear-like Kodiaks to the numerous variations of Fae. 30 backgrounds, 8 classes, over 40 pages of gear, including firearms and powered armor, over 20 new vehicles, including massive ETVs that dare to push into the hostile magical landscape, more than 30 monsters, including dragons and other intimidating creatures. The book finally concludes with an introductory adventure. Its sequel, Factions, is a mammoth 460 pages, offering expanded lore across North and South America, opening the world with new backgrounds and origins. The world of darkness is introduced, with dark spellcasters and demonic machines. Contrastively, the high-tech saints have descended from the stars, flaunting superior technology and a hidden agenda. Factions also offers powerful foundation spells, artifacts, and 50 monsters. The book also includes a campaign guide and a 50-page adventure. Amethyst Revelations will expand on the setting, adding more content to an already massive universe. Backers will also be able to acquire the Amethyst novels, Aiden's Way, Controlling Chaos, and the newest volume, Hallowed Kingdom. In total, the Amethyst role-playing game will encompass over 1,200 pages of content, one of the largest settings for 5th edition. Choose your path and commit to the quest. Monsters and machines will hunt you. No gods or prophecies will choose you. Welcome to Amethyst. Back now and support this independently published campaign.
There are a variety of pledge levels for Amethyst 5e. You can score just the new volume if you've already got the other 2 main books. So you can get your hands on Revelations in PDF for a $19 pledge. You can get the hardcover with PDF for a $61 pledge. Or you can score the trio of source books digitally for a $58 pledge, or the physical books in hardcover for a $169 pledge. And this is all through September 29th. The project did fund in its first 90 minutes, and expected delivery on the digital editions is December of next year, with the physical releases to follow in 2024. So, we'll mention these are a bit off. So, it's not something where it's like, oh, hey, Christmas time, I'm going to be able to get the PDFs. Yeah, well, Christmas time of next year. So I did a preview video. In fact, I made an exception because, I really don't do Kickstarter previews anymore. But Chris over at Ex Machina Games reached out because I had done a preview for the Affinity lineup, that trio of books that kickstarted. So I got to check out the first two books in Amethyst 5e. So I got to check out Quintessence as well as Factions. And there's also an adventure that's kind of like a quick start, but not a quick start. It's a little over 50 pages, and about 25 of those pages is kind of background about the setting itself, some of the rules, some of the gear, things like that. So in my preview video, I had mentioned how I thought it would probably be a good idea if it's called Hearts of Chaos is the PDF. I said it'd probably be a good idea if that was offered for free during the Kickstarter so you could get a better feel for what Amethyst 5e is. And sure enough, you can download it for free right now. So that is actually in the news piece that I already released earlier today. It is on the Kickstarter itself. This is actually a really cool setting. And if you want to learn more, by all means, check out the Kickstarter and check out my video, because the video is about 30 minutes. And I share some interiors from the books, share my thoughts about the setting and everything as well. So we've got Sly Blue Demon, 245 Trioxin, and Roll for Combat are with us tonight, hanging out. I like how Flaming Huron said the wheels have come off when I had the wrong, basically it was the wrong website address for Catalyst Game Labs. He's like, I don't know if the wheels came off completely. Usually that's if, knock on wood, if the stream dropped or something like that. All right, moving right along. There is another crowdfunding role-playing game project which kicked off today. That's right, because Free League Publishing launched their Kickstarter for the English edition of Drakar Akademier. I'm sure I mispronounced that. Here's the dope. A Legend is Reborn. Free League has launched the Kickstarter for Dragonbane, Drakar Akademier, a new and reimagined edition of Sweden's first and biggest tabletop role-playing game. The highly anticipated fantasy game was funded in just 4 minutes. This new edition already raised more than $100,000 during its first hour, and there's 23 days to go. The campaign includes both English and Swedish editions of the game. All pledges with a physical reward. If you make it within 24 hours, you're going to get an exclusive bonus art print. The Dragonbane Kickstarter campaign includes a free quick start PDF, which is available for download at no cost, with a complete introductory adventure and 5 pre-generated characters. Drakar Akademier originally launched in 1982 and has been Scandinavia's largest and most beloved tabletop role-playing game brand ever since. Now, Free League celebrates its 40th anniversary with a reimagined edition based on the heritage of decades of Swedish gaming, updated through the innovative game design for which Free League has been praised for worldwide. Dragonbane is a classic fantasy RPG full of magic, mystery, and adventure. This new edition is designed from the ground up to facilitate fast-paced fantasy adventures with very little prep time and adventures that are a breeze to run. The Dragonbane core game will come in a box set to honor the original editions from the 1980s. The set will include a core rulebook, an introductory scenario with pre-generated characters, and a huge, beautiful map of the Misty Vale setting created by the magnificent cartographer Francesca Berald. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing names. You know, that's how it works. If the funding goal is exceeded, the base funding goal, the box set will be expanded with a range of stretch goals, including custom dice, custom cards, additional pre-generated characters, and additional adventures, creating a complete campaign to play in the Misty Vale. All backers are also going to get early access to PDF versions of the complete core set ahead of the official release. There is a short Kickstarter video. It's only like 45 seconds long, but it'll share some more artwork. So let's take a peek. Once again, Dragonbane funded in its first 4 minutes. And you can reserve a copy of the core set in PDF for a $24 pledge, or grab the physical box set for a $38 pledge. That seems like a pretty smoking deal. Through September 22nd, expected delivery is August of next year. I definitely like the art. It's the same artist who did the vast majority. In fact, it may have been all of the artwork for Vossen, the kind of monster hunting, paranormal role-playing game from Free League Publishing. So definitely something to keep an eye out on. I got to be honest, I know absolutely nothing about the Swedish game that's actually celebrating its 40th anniversary. So, of course, there's a lot of role-playing games out there that are very, very popular around the world that we just don't have English editions of. So there is that. So there's some discussion about both the Dragonbane and the Amethyst 5e Kickstarters. Flaming Heron and Madman both are saying that they might be backing that Amethyst 5e. It's, like I said, I thought it was very, very cool. Definitely check out my preview video. It's kind of an odd preview video because I have really not seen anything outside of a little bit of artwork for Revelations, which is the third book. But it's supposed to be another 300 to 400 pages of content for the setting. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. All right, my final news piece, available in PDF for 5e, is The Forsaken Bug from CZRPG. Here's the skinny. The Forsaken Bug is a 5e supplement which aims to help you save prep time and impress your players. This product offers you a ready-to-use location which you can drop in any setting, along with detailed encounters that can become an adventure. All of this supported by maps to complement your game without the need to prepare. You've kind of talked about this non-prep thing in the past. It's not as, it doesn't work as well as a lot of people think. The Forsaken Bog was once a beautiful forest, which was corrupted by a forgotten dark entity that was found by a young girl. She later became a bog witch, and now she runs an orphanage in the bog, using the children to turn them into wood monsters, which the entity feeds upon their souls. Can your party bring peace and save the kids? Not my party. We'll absolutely fail. Sorry, kids. We just suck at this. Here's a summary of what you're going to get in this PDF. There's 19 pages, gorgeously laid out with amazing artwork. I got to say, the layout does look pretty nice. There's the location with lore, 3 detailed encounters, which you could string together, become a short adventure, right? Probably worth, probably a setting for, a session of action. 3 new stat blocks, some custom artwork, 3 battle maps with around 35 versions. So you can definitely bust this out for your virtual tabletops. There's night, there's rain, etc., as well as a regional map. This content was part of August's content for CZRPG's Patreon, and the maps were done by Jeremy Kimberling. I'm pretty sure I got that right. From Mimic Maps. The 19-page PDF is available right now over at DriveThruRPG for $5.99. Gotta say, this really caught my eye. I thought, hey, you know what? This looks pretty interesting. And I say it time and time again, even if you're not running 5e, when there's cool content out there that you can steal ideas from, oh, I'm sorry, not steal, crib. That's the word we always like to use. Crib. Crib those ideas from that game. Then by all means, you want to do so. So this looked kind of cool. So we actually have CZRPG in chat. They just actually made a super chat. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. So if anybody has any questions about the Forsaken Bog, just love the name of that. The Forsaken Bog. So where are you guys going? We're heading over to the Forsaken Bog. So CZRPG says, hey, they managed to watch live. Yes, I knew that they were going to check out the video at some point because I did tag them regarding this news piece. And they do monthly content like this each and every month. So there's some discussion of a lot of third-party 5e content out there. And yes, there is, as Flaming Heron points out as well. All right. That is the news for tonight. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Yes. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And there are loads of people who use either the banner ads or swing over to paypal.me to help keep the Gaming Gang around. So thank you, everybody. Always very much appreciated. So we're going to jump into Marvel Dice Throne in just a moment, but there were a couple of things I did want to talk about. For one, yes, because I screwed up that damn Battletech Yeah, that's what happens when you're trying to do, 4 things at once. So you already know I am working on the redesign of the Gaming Gang website. So I actually have something that's going through all the images and doing some conversion for it because I had noticed some of the old images weren't showing up, which is bad for your SEO. So it's doing that. So I have to monitor that from time to time. And it's actually going through about 14,000 images. I think grand total, we've got like 23,000 images on the website. Yeah. Been doing this a long time, everybody. Long time. So yeah, so I've been juggling umpteen different things. So I'm doing that. I'm still working on the redesign as well. So I have to segue. I have to kind of port over all the reviews, which we've got nearly 900 reviews, over to this new format. So I got to copy and paste a bunch of that stuff. Yeah. But, the website looked the same for a long, long time. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, shake things up a bit. It's not radically different, but it does have a little bit of a different look to it. Tessie Trekkie has joined us. And good morning to you too, Tessie Trekkie, even though it's evening here. I will also wish you a good morning. Flaming Heron says, it'll all be worth it in the end. Yes, I know. And it's funny, when I first started this, I knew nothing about website design. Nothing. I didn't know anything about SEO. I knew nothing about videos or sound people can still claim I don't know anything about video or sound still, but don't know. So Flaming Heron says, it makes you cry how badly Wizards of the Coast is handling it of late. I'm sure he's talking about Dungeons and Dragons. So we've kind of talked a bit before about a lot of really great third-party publishers out there and how it's funny. So there are a lot of people out there who dislike 5e. Once again, I always point out, I don't have a dog in the fight. I like a lot of different role-playing game systems. None of them are perfect. There isn't a single role-playing game that I would run as written, including my favorite, Call of Cthulhu. There are aspects of that I completely ignore. Or I've tweaked as well. But the funny thing is, you get these third-party publishers, and they're of all sizes. And on one hand, you want to create content that's going to be seen. And yes, we've mentioned before, there is just a slew of garbage out there. Drive-through RPG, DM's Guild. There's a lot of just shovelware was a good term that was used back in the day as far as PC games. And it applies for this as well. So there's a lot of trash. There's also some gems out there as well, some really cool stuff. So it's kind of funny because it kind of boils down to, so do you design it for 5e, like the popular systems out there, maybe Pathfinder 2nd Edition, knowing that there's so much more content out there that it is possible that yours is going to get lost in the shuffle? Or do you go after systems that are still popular, but just not in the public zeitgeist, say like a Rune Quest or Old School Essentials, Castles and Crusades? I'm leaving a ton of them out. I find it very interesting. I really do. I find it very interesting, the thought process behind third-party publishers and what they design for. So, and there are third-party publishers out there who design stuff for, say, like 5e, and they don't actually play D&D. They just design for it. So, Flaming Heron says, the cream rises to the surface. It most certainly does. It really, really does. So, like I said, I find it kind of interesting how the third-party publishers make the decision. Like I said, because there's a lot of cool stuff out there. And maybe I don't mention it. Maybe it doesn't get mentioned on other shows or on other websites and stuff like that. And it just sits there and doesn't get any love. And then other stuff gets way too much love. So kind of cool. Kind of cool. Like I said, makes you think, makes you wonder. All righty. So as I mentioned, we are going to be taking a look at Marvel Dice Throne from the Op Games in just a moment. But first, it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Steaming hot coffee, the perfect thing to pick you up and relax you at the same time. Ours is blended specially so you know it's smooth, rich, full up with the deep, mellow flavor and aroma that sets a man on his feet again. Wouldn't a big, delicious cup of coffee taste good right now? By itself or with a tasty snack. Buy it piping hot and hearty, perked fresh and waiting for you at the refreshment center.
You sure get a lift with Wilkins coffee. Not me, huh? And not drinking Wilkins could be your downfall.
Give me 2 more colas and a little of your time, sweetheart.
Hello, stranger. And stranger yet. What'll you have?
Something different. The cola wars are over.
There ain't nothing different.
I have something different.
Trash it. Freeze.
It's better ice cold.
I have something different. It's like, I don't know if I want to see it. There's a lot of mutants in that here. I don't know. I don't know, lady. I think I'll take a pass. I'm not really that thirsty. It's not that big a deal. Floating Aaron says, okay, that was just strange. I remember that commercial. It used to play in theaters, and it was in the 80s. After the Cola Wars. Say, okie doke. Coco B says, only thing wilder is if Dr. Pepper had a werewolf. All right. Tonight, I am going to be taking a first look at Marvel Dice Throne from the Op Games. This is the 4-character set. It's designed by Gavin Brown, Nate Chatelier, and Manny Tremblay, with artwork provided by Damian Malmolity, taking a stab, and Manny Tremblay. The game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays in around 30 minutes. It does carry an MSRP of $49.99. So let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Marvel Dice Throne. So let's first off get the shrink wrap off. And I will point out the fine folks over at the Op Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. So, and of course, it's important that you know that. So let's take a look at the back. Of course, this set features Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Loki, the Scarlet Witch, and Thor. So that's who we're going to have in this set. I thought there was a set that had all 8 initial characters in it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the 4 and then there's two character sets. Because I know there's a set that's got Captain Marvel and Black Panther. So, and this can be team-based as well, I believe. So let's open this up. So first off, we've got a bit of a rule book. So we will take a peek at that. This is version 1.0. Right, so we got Captain Marvel. There is Doctor Strange. Black Widow and Black Panther are the other characters as well. Although I don't know why Loki would be fighting on the side of Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, and Doctor Strange. So, don't know. So we get an overview of the game. So we get our character card, as well as cards. Looks like we get some tokens as well. We're going to have some custom dice. We've got our hero board. I have not played Dice Throne, so this is completely new to me. So we've got phases in each turn. We've got an upkeep phase, income phase, main phase, offensive roll phase, targeting roll phase, defensive roll phase. Then we have the main phase. So it's our second main phase. So it's identical to the other. So I guess we're going to have 2 main phases in each round. And then we have a discard phase. So we've got health counters. So once your health hits 0, you are defeated. And we have combat points. So it looks like we've got a couple of dials that we are going to well, there's 2 dials on the health tracker. So we've got a couple of trackers here. Here's our hero board. I thought I had heard that this has a bit of a kind of a Yahtzee-ish mechanic to it. I don't know. 245 Trioxin says, I think there was a Battle Chest edition when it kickstarted that included all of the characters. Yeah, because the 2 character sets, I think the MSRP on those is like $29.99. Whereas this has 4 characters and it's $49.99. So we also have a hero leaflet. So it looks like this is maybe a player aid for each of the heroes as well. Discussion about status effects. Companions. Says some heroes have companions which are represented by tokens, dials, or other custom components. Thor's hammer is a companion? I don't know. Jason Bratley's with us in chat. Good to see you, Jason. So you got upgrades for the heroes, action cards, discussing resolving the text on the cards, different types of damage. So normal damage, undefendable damage, pure damage, pure energy, collateral damage, and ultimate damage. Okay, that's a little odd. So we've got 4-player games, which is 2v2. 3-player game is King of the Hill. It says actually Dice Throne can be played with up to 6 players. We strongly recommend your group does not attempt this until everyone is very familiar with the game. 5 to 6-player games are fun and intense for seasoned players, but will drag on if attempted by new players. Here's a breakdown of the turn. That's cool. How to resolve timing conflicts. And then we got our credits and a quick reference on the back. For some reason, this book is kind of bent. So it's kind of odd. All right, so we got some tokens here. Is this, yeah, I was going to say this is two sides here, right? There we go. Trying to figure out how to get that open. So we've got some standees. So we have Loki, Thor. I always say Ultimate Spider-Man because that's where I originally ran across Miles Morales. And then we've got Scarlet Witch, and we've got some different tokens and counters as well, dual-sided. So we've got that. And actually, this is pretty thick cardstock. So it looks like we have like a little box for each. We have a little container for each of the heroes. That's pretty wild. So we got Thor, Scarlet Witch, Loki, and Spider-Man. So let's take a peek at Loki first. I'll open this up. Okay, so I'm going to address the elephant in the room. I do not like this art at all. This is, okay. I'm not going to like rip on it, but it's like a Marvel thing now where it used to be Marvel had this very specific, unique look. And there was, a thing known as drawing the Marvel way. And all the artists had to kind of be, within a certain kind of uniformity. Now it's sort of like, it just varies all over the place. To me, this is too much like anime. It's just my opinion, but yeah, this is far too much like anime to me. Although this is kind of cool how this folds out. So this is our effectively our character card. This isn't mischief. This is mayhem. Just watch. So there is that. Here is our, I believe they were saying that this is, I forget what they were just calling it. It's kind of also a player aid card here. So we have some rules clarifications. I will point out the text on here is tiny. It is really, really small. Just to point out, I mean, if you wear reading glasses, you're going to be 245 Tracks and says they had the Drawing the Marvel Way VHS tape when they were a kid. I had the book. Here's our combat points, which is a dial. Here's our health counter with a couple of dials. We've got our custom dice. And these are cut dice. So we have various different symbols on them. I don't know if they're all exactly the same. They very possibly could be. I think they are. I think each of the dice are the same. So we get 5 of those. And then we've got our deck of action cards. This looks very interesting, even though I'm not too keen on the art style. It does look pretty interesting. So we've got partial success, success, fail. So, these are illusions. Okay, so let's take a look here. So we got our turn order card. I think these are the actions. And then there's also some illusion cards, which we just took a look at. Success, partial success, and fail. Take backsies. We're not going to look at each card. Double take 4. Mockery 2. Twice as wild. Change the values of any 2 dice. Tip it. Increase or decrease any die by the value of 1. Triple up. Draw 3 cards. Get that out of here. Remove a status effect token from a chosen player. All right, so we have these have a bit of a linen finish as well. Melanie says Upper Deck's Marvel Legendary has them covered for years, but the components in this dice throne look decent. Yeah, they actually are pretty interesting. So that is Loki. I like Marvel Legendary. In fact, years and years ago, we actually did a preview at Gen Con. That's when I first met Jason Brenner, who was with Upper Deck at the time. So here we have Thor. I like how we have the artwork on the back as well. I think that's kind of cool. So here's Thor's card. And then we have, see, to me, that artwork is just weak. I'm sorry, but I grew up with, John Romita, and of course, as a kid, as a little kid, there was Steve Ditko, of course, the great Jack Kirby. So when I see this real flat, kind of detailless artwork, it's sort of like, eh. All right. So just taking a peek. So here we've got the combat point dial. And then Thor's health dial. Thor's custom dice. Kind of give you an idea of what's on here. Quite a lot of hammers. Three faces have that. Flavor here, it says the artwork seems like it's someone's representation of what they believe the characters look like based on someone's descriptions. Okay, I wouldn't say it's that bad. It's just the style. It's a style I just am not a fan of. That's it. That's all I can say. All right, let's take a look at some of the cards out of here. I mean, the quality of the components in that seem really nice. The cards are a little thin, but it does help that we do have that linen finish on them. So, okay, so these are all actions. Stormbreak. He is worthy. Change the value of one of your dice to a 4 or 5. Mighty Summon, which I think, once again, I know nothing about this game. I think these cards actually go here. I think these ability cards actually go here. And then if you use it, you probably have to flip it over. And then you can't use it again and probably until the next round. Kevin says they dislike the Thor art worse than Loki. Yeah, you know what? I agree. The Loki art was, I didn't care for it, but some of the artwork was all right. This is very, very cartoonish. And when I say cartoonish, I'm talking like cheap cartoons, right? Tippet. So we've got some of these are the same kind of thing. So I guess some of the cards that are going to be like, get that out of here, is going to be part of everyone's deck. Hammered. Yeah, got hammered, man. I am going to be busting this out with my nephew Cameron and my brother Greg, 'cause of course my brother Greg is a big Marvel fan. And of course I'll have to listen to him talking about the artwork too. Not being a fan, I can guarantee that. All right, so that's Thor. Let's take a look at Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch artwork looks very similar to Thor's. Jason Bradley's rocking on out. Good to see you hanging with us tonight, Jason. So here is Scarlet Witch's art, which they cut her head off. Well, that kind of sucks. It's like, okay. Everybody else had their head, or at least most of it. Okay, so here's her board, as well as her card. Her combat points. And her health dial. Now, the Scarlet Witch art seems to be kind of between Loki and Thor. So Loki seemed to have the most detail. Thor seemed to have the least amount of detail. So these are the faces on these dice. And it seems that Scarlet Witch has kind of fallen into the middle of that. Of course, the one thing I'm going to be curious about is the artwork for Spider-Man, because Spider-Man, for some reason, tends to be a character that artists are like all over the place with. It's like these are all going to be actions. So we have chaos manipulation, a hex shield. Then we've got her skills coming up. Snap, crackle, double trouble, pure chaos. So I'm kind of curious. Do we have a blank face? We don't. So I'm going to take a guess. These have to be probably 5 of the same, is what this means. I don't know. So those are 4. So as we can see, we've got certain, okay, Mind Blast, you need 1 of each of those. So there are 4 faces on her die. So, cool. Helping Hand. So wild. Change the value of any 1 die. And then we have the cards that we've seen in every one of the decks. Okay. I do like these inserts. Everything just fits right on in nicely. That's cool. I like that. And they seem to stay closed decently. All right, let's finish up with Miles Morales. So here's something completely off topic, although it is about Miles Morales. So the funny thing is, Miles Morales' first appearance is actually in previews, Marvel previews, which if you are not super familiar with comics, Diamond Distributors has a kind of like a magazine that comes out every month, and it's all the new comics and things like that. And one of the inserts to that of a much higher quality than the Diamond Distributor kind of catalog is, I guess what we would say it's more like, is the Marvel previews, and it talks about the Marvel stuff. So if you're familiar with comic books, the first appearance of a character, depending on the popularity of that character, is determined by its first appearance. So when that character first appears in a comic book, it's a big deal, and it tends to be, worth quite a bit, right? So, like, as an example, Wolverine's first appearance is in Incredible Hulk 182. It's actually 181, but it's like the last panel. And I don't think they actually show Wolverine himself. And of course, that comic book is worth quite a lot. Well, Miles Morales' first appearance is in this preview magazine, which it's not even a comic book, but it's worth like hundreds of dollars. It's like, okay. And all it is effectively a throwaway preview magazine of the comics that are coming out that month. So and it usually comes out like 3-4 months in advance of the issues. But it's kind of like, really? So here's Miles Morales. And we've got his card here as well. His artwork doesn't look too bad. But then again, his costume is very dark. There we go. We've got his combat wheel here, combat points. And his health dial. Flaming Heron says, not great that the artwork isn't up to snuff, considering this is the first thing anyone will see is the artwork. Yeah, and the artwork is, I guess one of the designers did some of the artwork as well. So, Flaming Heron said, Spider-Man's hard to stuff up. Oh, I don't know. I have seen some terrible Spider-Man. Some horrible, and I have seen some really bad Spider-Man by John Romita Jr., which is sacrilege. If you know anything about Spider-Man. All right, so Spider-Man's got all actions. Yes. So, radioactive blood. Invisible punch. Swing escape. Cha-ching. Venom Punch 2. Ensnare. Combo 2. Punch 2. Kind of cool. And then these are all the same again as we've seen in all of the decks. So it looks as if each of the characters gets 10 actions that are unique to them, or action cards. Then I want to say these are the actions that you use your dice for. So, but then there's more of them on here than there were in the deck. Huh, interesting. All right. Well, we'll find out when I actually read the rules. So, there is the deck here. Here are the dice. So, what do we got here? So, we've got the hand, like shooting web. We got the spider. And we've got a spider web. And it looks like there are 3. Yep, there are 3 faces to these dice. All right. So we'll put his health dial and his combat point dial in there. And there is Spider-Man. So, Flaming Heron asks, who would I look forward to playing first? So I have to point out, if you were not aware of this, my favorite Marvel superhero is Captain America. Has been since I was a little kid. Cap is my favorite. So unfortunately, we don't have Cap. So Thor is fine. I would probably play Miles Morales, Spider-Man. That's probably who I would go with. So funny thing is, I'm not a fan of Iron Man. I never have been. And one year for my birthday, this is not that long ago. This is maybe 10 years ago. My brother bought me, because I had all different like comic uh, there were, I forget the place that had it, but they had like all these like classic comic covers that were on wood, and you would hang them. And I had them in my like kind of like man cave at the apartment I had. One of the bedrooms I had was set up for like gaming and stuff like that. So my brother got me this this like big picture of Iron Man, and I was like, seriously? I'm like, I hate Iron Man. It's like, why would you buy me this? It's like, you hate Iron Man? I'm like, yeah, I don't like Iron Man at all. All right, so we got the 4 characters. We've got the tokens and the standees, as well as our rule book. And that is what we find when we take everything from Marvel Dice Throne outside the box. And I will have a review of Marvel Dice Throne, hopefully in the not too distant future. Once again, this is out now. It is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays in around 30 minutes or so, and carries an MSRP of $49.99 from the Op Games. All right. So, and I do want to point out this box has some heft to it. There's a lot of stuff in this box. So even though I'm not too keen on the artwork, this might be a pretty cool game. I know Dice Throne was very popular. So once again, I hadn't had an opportunity to check it out, though. Have not gotten a chance to play it. So Coco B says, in regards to the art, is manga currently outselling Marvel and DC? Not that I am aware of. Certainly not here in the United States. It's funny talking about comics and that, you know, back in the day, back in, let's say, early 40s, an issue of Superman would sell millions of copies. Nowadays, a comic that sells 100,000 copies in a month is a big deal. So it's like, yes. You know, it's really funny because I've heard stories of behind the scenes, the powers that be, especially at DC. I've heard Warner Brothers talk about pulling the plug on their comics. But then they also kind of look at it where it's like, well, if we don't have the comics, how do we garner interest in our movies? Which is already a difficult thing for them. So, but I had actually heard Disney grumbles about at some point, maybe just not, maybe doing them just all digitally and things like that. I don't know. Flaming Heron says there are a lot more things pulling our attention nowadays. Yeah, there certainly is. And a lot of people find a lot of stress involved in that. Just like I've heard, you know, people who stress out because there's just so much streaming entertainment out there. They can't keep up. It's like, so what? It's like, big deal. It's a TV show. Whatever, right? Just like House of the Dragon. I haven't watched the 2nd episode yet. Maybe I will tonight. Maybe I'll wait till later on this week. I don't know. Yes. Flaming Heron says, yeah, first world problems. Yeah, most definitely, aren't they? All righty. So what's cooking on tomorrow's show? Well, it is going to be a War Game Wednesday as we unbox and take a look at the Musket and Pike Dual Pack from GMT Games. This contains 2 previously released war games. It is This Accursed Civil War. I couldn't remember the accursed part. And Sweden Fights On. Yes, the Swedish pikemen, obviously enough. Oh, I'm sorry, Swiss. They were Swiss pikemen. So we're going to dive on into this on tomorrow's show. I got to be honest. This box is heavy, but I don't know if we're going to see mounted maps in here. I don't think so. I think we're going to see paper maps. So that is on tomorrow's show. Next Monday, there will not be a show because of the holiday. And then next week, we are going to have a Kobold week. We just had Southlands week. And we're going to take a look at Book of Even Tides. So that'll be a week from today. And then Tales from the Shadows, which will be a week from tomorrow. And of course, don't forget, I'm going to be sharing my first look at Pathfinder Lost Omens Travel Guide this week, as well as my review of the Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook from a Troll Lord Games. So lots cooking, lots going on. Kevin R. Smith says it's hilarious how many of those million-selling comic books were thrown out by mothers and thus became rare collector's items. Many of them were burned as well. I would definitely recommend, if you have any interest in the history of comic books, give a listen to. It's actually a very good audiobook. It's a book itself, obviously enough. It's called The 10-Cent Plague. I don't recall the author's name, but I got my copy of the audiobook on Audible, and it is excellent. And it talks about the craziness that was going on in the 50s that nearly killed comics. And the only issue I've got with it is the narrator keeps pronouncing Submariner as Submariner. And it's like, really? Really? Could get that one right. All right. So definitely give that a peek. It's really, really interesting, really well done as well. Gets into a lot of EC comics, which I was always fascinated by EC comics. So the horror comics and war comics and crime comics and things like that. So the seduction of the innocent. Manman says that they bought a Tokudaki Barbie for his daughter years ago. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that correctly. For $70, it now goes for over $500. Amazing in how much some collectible items go for. Look at the Mego superhero figures. I remember we used to get those. I think they were $4 at the toy store that was right down the street from my grandmother's house. And now if you had them in the box, some of them go for thousands. So Coco B says, comic collecting around there is cutthroat as money is involved. Dang vultures. So here's the thing that I talk about. My brother has a huge collection. And it's funny, I got him back into collecting comics, and then I left comics again. I'll read some comics digitally, but I usually read like Independence and stuff that used to be like Vertigo. Like I'll read The Boys, right, from Dynamite, stuff like that. But I don't tend to read like Marvel and DC too often. But I have to laugh where it's like, oh, this comic is worth XYZ in the guide. And it's like, yeah, let's see you sell it for that. Because one of the funny things is, and I was around back in the early 90s when the comic industry almost went under because of, one was speculators and the other was so many variants that were coming out for every issue. Where we have a bunch of variants nowadays, but they're at least a bit under control, where it's like, oh, this is a 1 in 75 variant. This is a 1 in 150 variant, 1 in 500 variant, what have you. Whereas the variants were just crazy back in the day. But people got involved because they were like, oh, well, oh, these comics are worth so much money. Comics being produced today, they're not going to hold value, because the reason why, Incredible Hulk 182 and Amazing Fantasy 15 and things like that are worth so much is because of scarcity. And nowadays people go and they buy like 5 copies of a first issue and, bag them up and board them up and put them away someplace. And it's like, don't know. Anyway, so, yeah, that's my thought. I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from collecting comics. I mean, I like comics. I think comics are fun, but it's like, I certainly would not think of like investing in like modern books. So Flaming Heron says that their brother has an extensive comic collection. He knows because he's storing them for him. Yeah, I've had family have to do that for me. have to like, hang out of some stuff for a few months. Yeah, it happens. All righty. So that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of the Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook from Troll Lord Games. You'll be able to check this out later on this week. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you took part in chat, big tip of the cap. I appreciate you keeping me company and keeping the other folks in chat company as well. Of course, I know a lot of you out there don't have an opportunity to watch these streams live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to check out any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. All right, everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever part of the day it is in your neck of the woods. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.